Hello there. Welcome to video 126 from Sumit Academy. I do hope that you have subscribed to my channel. Do subscribe now so that you do not miss out on my previous or future videos. And do remember to like and share this video. And if you want to drop in a line, I shall always be available at sumitacademy20@gmail.com. To make your task a little easier, here is a complete list of all videos on my YouTube channel. The list is divided into the playlists under which they are available. Do have a look. In this video, we shall have a look at the Official Secrets Act 1923. This is India's anti-espionage act, held over from the British colonial period, and refers to spying or espionage. This includes acts of obtaining and divulging secret information without the knowledge or permission of the secret holder, be it a person, institution, organization, or state. It mentions that one cannot approach, inspect, or even pass over a prohibited government site or area. According to the Act, helping the enemy state can be in the form of communicating a sketch, plan, a model of an official secret, or passing off or transfer of official codes or passwords to the enemy. The Official Secrets Act was first enacted in 1923 and was retained after independence. In fact, despite a media hue and cry to soften its provisions, this act is being carried on as it is from the British era. The law applicable to government servants and citizens provides the framework for dealing with espionage, sedition, and other potential threats to the integrity of the nation, and makes it a crime to help an enemy state that is against India and its interests. The law makes spying, sharing secret information, unauthorized use of uniforms, withholding information, interference with the armed forces in prohibited or restricted areas, among others, punishable offences. If guilty, a person may get up to 14 years imprisonment, a fine, or both. It is therefore a punitive legislation that punishes anyone for leaking or sharing secrets with anyone else without due permission. The original version was the Indian Official Secrets Act, Act 14 of 1889. This was brought in with the main objective of muzzling the voice of a large number of newspapers that had come up in several languages and were opposing the Raj's policy, building political consciousness and facing police crackdowns and prison terms. It was amended and made more stringent in the form of the Indian Official Secrets Act 1904 during Lord Curzon's tenure as Viceroy of India. In 1923, a newer version was notified. The Indian Official Secrets Act, Act number 19 of 1923, was extended to all matters of secrecy and confidentiality in governance in the country. And this act has been retained in independent India, and so far no changes have been made. Let us now study the important provisions of the Official Secrets Act 1923. First, the Act defines as to what constitutes communication that can be categorized as an offense. It states that the act of receiving and divulging plans, sketches, articles, notes, or documents that are classified as restricted or secret and are not supposed to be shared without permission is an offense. It also defines as to what is a plan, a sketch, an article, a note, and a document. It goes on to define a prohibited place as any place where important government machinery, such as the military arsenal or naval establishment, is situated, or even any place where war munitions are stored. This includes the whole or part of any ship, submarine, aircraft, tank, or similar engine, arms and ammunition, torpedo, or mine intended or adapted for use in war, and any other article, material, or device, whether actual or proposed, intended for such use. As per the Act, the government may notify any place as a prohibited place through a notification in the official gazette. Any reference to a place belonging to government includes a place occupied by any department of the government, whether the place is or is not actually vested in the government. The Act further defines any railway, roadway, or channel, or other means of communication by land or water, including any works or structures being part thereof or connected therewith, or any place used for gas, water, or electricity works, or other works for purposes of a public character, or any place where any munitions of war or any sketches, models, plans, or documents relating to these are being made, repaired, or stored otherwise than on behalf of the government, which is for the time being declared by the central government by notification in the official gazette to be a prohibited place for the purposes of this act. And why? On the ground that information with respect thereto or the destruction of obstruction thereof or interference therewith would be useful to an enemy. So you can see that the government, if it so desires, can declare almost any place as a prohibited place. Let us now move on to the penalties listed in the Act. Any person for any purpose prejudicial to the safety or interests of the state, where the offence is committed in relation to any work of defense, arsenal, naval, military, or air force establishment or station, mine, minefield, factory, dockyard, camp, ship, or aircraft, or otherwise in relation to the naval, military, or air force affairs of government, or in relation to any secret official code, can be punished up to 14 years, and in other cases to 3 years if they approach, inspect, pass over, or are in the vicinity of or enter any prohibited place. So don't even look at such places. They can also be punished for making any sketch, plan, model, or note which might be useful to an enemy, or obtaining, collecting, recording, or publishing, or communicating to any other person any secret official code or password, or any sketch, plan, model, article, or note, or other document or information which is calculated to be or might be or is intended to be directly or indirectly useful to an enemy, or which relates to a matter the disclosure of which is likely to affect the sovereignty and integrity of India, the security of the state, or friendly relations with foreign states. A person might be presumed to have been in communication with a foreign agent if he has, either within or without India, visited the address of a foreign agent or consorted or associated with the foreign agent. The expression foreign agent includes any person who is or has been, or in respect of whom it appears that there are reasonable grounds for suspecting him of being or having been employed by a foreign power, either directly or indirectly, for the purpose of committing an act prejudicial to the safety or interests of India. So do be careful of friends you make or places you visit. Section 6 of the Act makes it an offence to use uniforms of or resembling the uniforms of the Army, Navy, or the Air Force, police, or other officials in an unauthorized manner to deceive or falsely represent oneself as such officer. This section also makes it a punishable offence to falsify or forge government reports or create other documents pertaining to the governance of the country. So, a word of advice: do not be in a hurry to blindly forward any official or official looking document you may receive on WhatsApp, because you can be imprisoned for a term of up to 3 years and a fine. It will be best to immediately delete such bogus forwards or report it to the police. Section 7 states that no person in the vicinity of any prohibited place shall obstruct, knowingly mislead, or otherwise interfere with or impede any police officer or any member of the armed forces of the Union engaged on guard, sentry, patrol, or other similar duty in relation to the prohibited place. So, next time you enter a metro station and see a CISF armed post asking you to stay away, do stay away and do not interfere with his duty by asking him for directions. Section 8 talks of our duty of giving information as to commission of offences to the police, while Section 9 states that any person who attempts to or commit or abets the commission of an offence under this Act shall be punishable of an offence under this Act with the same punishment and be liable to be proceeded against in the same manner as if he had committed such offence. So even if you help someone, it will be as if you have committed the offence yourself. Section 10 talks about the penalty for harboring spies. Any person who knowingly harbors any person reasonably suspected of being a spy would also be committing an offence under the Act. In fact, if the police so demand, you are bound to give information about any such person. The Act states that a magistrate first class or STM can issue a search warrant for conducting investigation of offences under this Act. Section 15 deals with offences by companies. If a company commits any offence listed in the Act, then every person who is, at the time the offence was being committed, responsible for the company and in charge of its conduct of business would be deemed to be guilty of the offence. Under this Act, the public can be excluded from court proceedings if the prosecution provides reasonable evidence that the matters discussed in court are required to be kept a secret. The court can prevent the public from attending the proceedings and can also prevent any publication of matters of the proceedings. The Official Secrets Act is a colonial law that prioritized obedience to British authority over accountability to the public. In continuing unchanged with this law, valid criticism and dissent can be suppressed. After the implementation of the RTI Act, this Act seems rather inconsistent with the spirit of true democracy that promotes transparency. But governments have to ultimately decide the fine line of balance between safeguarding national secrets and being transparent even at the cost of national security. The Second Administrative Reforms Commission Report 2006 suggested that the Act should be substituted by a chapter in the National Security Act that incorporates the necessary provisions. The reason? It had become a contentious issue after the implementation of the Right to Information Act. The Commission report stated that as the background to the Secrets Act is the colonial climate of mistrust of people and the primacy of public officials in dealing with the citizens, it created a culture of secrecy. Confidentiality became the norm and disclosure the exception, the report said. This tendency was challenged when the Right to Information Act came into existence. Another contentious issue with the law is that its Section 5, which deals with potential breaches of national security, is often misinterpreted. The section makes it a punishable offense to share information that may help an enemy state. The section comes in handy for booking journalists when they publicize information that may cause embarrassment to the government or the armed forces. However, India is not alone in maintaining this law. Several countries, including the United Kingdom, Malaysia, Singapore, and New Zealand, continue to use the legislation to protect state secrets. In 2001, Canada replaced its act with the Security of Information Act. The official secrets come under the Espionage Act in the United States. On September 3, 2018, a Myanmar court awarded 7 years jail to two Reuters journalists for illegally possessing official documents on the military's alleged human rights abuses against Rohingya Muslims. Malaysia has also been accused of using the Secrets Act to silence dissidents. Yes, I know you have many questions on the subject. You do want to know between the RTI Act and this Act which has primacy. Well, Section 22 of the RTI Act provides for its primacy vis-a-vis provisions of other laws, including the Official Secrets Act. This gives the RTI Act an overriding effect, notwithstanding anything consistent with the provisions of this Act. So, if there is any inconsistency in the Secrets Act with regard to furnishing of information, it will be superseded by the RTI Act. However, under sections 8 and 9 of the RTI Act, the government can refuse information. Effectively, if the government classifies a document as secret under Clause 6 of the Official Secrets Act, that document can be kept outside the ambit of the RTI Act, and the government can invoke sections 8 and 9 of the RTI Act. Legal experts see this as a loophole. You may also ask if there has been any effort to change the provisions of the Official Secrets Act. In 1971, the Law Commission became the first official body to make an observation regarding this act. In its report on offences against national security, it agreed with the contention that merely because a circular is marked secret or confidential It should not attract the provisions of the Act if the publication thereof is in the interest of the public, and no question of national emergency and interest of the state as such arises. The Law Commission, however, did not recommend any changes to the Act. In 2006, the Second Administrative Reforms Commission, ARC, recommended that the Act be repealed and replaced with a chapter in the National Security Act containing provisions relating to official secrets. Observing that this act was incongruous with the regime of transparency in a democratic society, the ARC referred to the 1971 Law Commission report that had called for an umbrella act to be passed to bring together all laws relating to national security. In 2015, the government had set up a committee to look into provisions of the Act in the light of the RTI Act. It submitted its report to the Cabinet Secretariat on June 16, 2017, recommending that the Act be made more transparent and in line with the RTI Act. However, as usual, no action has been taken in this regard. What falls under the Official Secrets Act in a democracy is something that needs constant evaluation. The need for official secrecy has to be weighed against the citizens' right to know. The same statute book that has the Official Secrets Act also gives pride of place to the RTI Act that empowers citizens to access and to demand information under the control of public authorities in order to promote transparency. In any conflict between the two, in a democracy that calls itself open, surely the letter and spirit of the right of freedom of speech and expression and information should trump the archaic and increasingly anachronistic Secrets Act. Notably, the Supreme Court has recognized this democratic imperative. Over the years, India's apex court has expanded the protections accorded to the whistleblower to ensure that those who expose corruption and wrongdoing are not vulnerable to bullying and intimidation. The debate continues and no solution is in sight. In the meantime, let you and me be wary of this act and its draconian features and live our lives without compromising the safety and security of our nation. Well, that's all from me in this video. This video is based on the information freely available on the internet. No originality is claimed for the same. The intention of this video is only to prepare candidates for answering examination questions on the subject and not for any financial gains. Do like and share this video and do subscribe to my channel now so that you do not miss out on my previous or future videos. And if you wish to drop in a line, I shall always be available at sumitacademy20@gmail.com. Till later then, cheerio.